Pag-aralan niya ng mabuti. So, thank you for allowing the creation of the subcommittee, Senator Robin, Chairman Robin, at we'll give you first crack for your opening remarks, sir.
A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Isang pagbati po ng isang magandang umaga po. Isang bagong umaga para sa inang bayang Pilipinas. At ako po ay umaapaw po ang kaligayahan sa aking puso sapagkat yung akin pong idol senator na yung pong matatawag kong isa sa mentor ko po dito sa Senado ay akin pong kasama at siya po ang chairman ng subcommittee na ito. Alam niyo po, isa pong karangalan talaga na isang senador na abogado, isang senador na ekonomista. Siya po ngayon ang chairman ng subcommittee na ito. Maraming salamat po sa usapin na yan. Sa mga tagapangulo po, dadating naman po ang ating Ginoong Pangulo. Babanggitin ko na rin po siya. Maraming salamat sa aming Ginoong Pangulo, Senator Mig Subiri, sapagkat siya po ang namuno sa hakbangin na ito na maamendahan ang economic provision sa saligang batas. Ako po ay sumasaludo sa aming Ginoong Pangulo. Ako din po ay nagbibigay pugay kay Sir Gary Teves, ang akin pong tumatayong economic advisor. At ako po ay naliligayahan at kasama po natin siya ngayon bilang isang atin pong resource speaker. At ganun din po ang aking kaibigan na si Orion. Sir, maraming salamat po at nandito po kayo. Noong pa man, batid naman po ninyo ang aking damdamin tungkol sa pag-amyenda ng ating saligang batas. Simula nang ako ay mahalal bilang senador at maitalagang tagapangulo ng kumiting ito, ay isinulong na po ng inyong lingkod ang mga mungkahing susog, partikular sa mga pang-ekonomiyang probisyon na sa aking paniniwala ay nagiging hadlang sa ating pag-arangkada tungo sa tunay na pag-unlad. Subukan po nating lagyan ng konteksto. Ang ilan sa mga economic provisions sa 1987 Constitution na hinahangad nating amendahan ay minana pa po natin sa mga naunang saligang batas. Marami-rami ng dekada ang nakalipas. Ito po ang panahong sariwa pa sa kaisipan at damdamin ng mga bumalangkas ng konstitusyon ang napakahabang mga taon ng pananakop ng mga dayuhan sa ating bayan. Kaya't pinalakas ang Filipino First. Ito ang prinsipyong isinasaisip at isinapuso ng mga delegado. Fast forward po tayo sa kasalukuyan. Ano po ba ang kinaharap ng Pilipinas bilang isang bansa sa kontemporaryong panahon? Meron pong isang termino, globalisasyon. By definition, globalization is the word used to describe the growing interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, and populations brought about by cross-border trade in goods and services, technology, and flows of investment, people, and information. Sa isang kalungkutan, ang mahigpit na provision po sa ating saligang batas ay hindi na angkop sa pandaigdigang kalakaran sa ekonomiya. Nabanggit na rin po natin ito noon. Sa kasalukuyan, ng ating bansa ay pangatlo sa 83 na ekonomiya. Sa pinakamahigpit sa mga regulasyon base sa Foreign Direct Investment Regulatory Restrictiveness Index ng Organization for Economic Cooperation Development. Base sa Foreign Direct Investment Attractiveness Scorecard noong 2020, ang Pilipinas ay nasa dulo, 13th sa 14th na ekonomiya sa Asia Pacific. Pang 13 po tayo sa 14 na ekonomiya sa Asia Pacific. Batid naman po nating sinubukan na itong gamutin sa pamamagitan ng pagpasa ng Public Services Act. Subalit nga po, nung ating binigyan diin nung nakaraan at binanggit din ng ating Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, ang nakabinbing pang-question po nito sa Korte Suprema ay nagbibigay pa rin ng alinlangan sa mga dayuhang mamumuhunan. Ito po ang dahilan kung kaya't hindi pa tayo makaarangkada sa implementasyon ng batas. Sa paghahain po ng resolusyon bilang 6 ng ating mga iginagalang na mga senador, Senate President Zubiri, Senadora Ligarda at Senador Angara, natutuwa po ako na mabibigyan ng pagkakataon ang diskusyon sa pagpapaluwag ng ating konstitusyon tungkol sa mga restriksyon sa mga pampublikong kagamitan, institusyong pang-edukasyon, at industriya ng advertising. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa tagapangulo ng Senado sa kanyang malawat na pangunawa sa prinsipyong aking tinitindigan, gayon din sa aking mga kasamahan dito sa Senado. Muli po, ako po ay nagpupugay sa ating Pangulo ngayon ng subcommittee na ito, Senator Sani Angara, sapagkat ito pong hakbang na ito ay tunay na aking pong pinaniniwalaan na makatutulong sa pag-unlad ng ating bansa at makawala po sa tanikala ng pangungutang sapagkat sa usapin po ng lohika, kapag ka may investment, ibig sabihin may puhunan. Kapag ka may puhunan, ay merong iikot na pera. At pag umikot ng pera, magkakaroon po ng trabaho, magkakaroon ng tamang sweldo, at magkakaroon po ng ibig sabihin ng pagtakbo at pag-ikot ng ekonomiya. Kaya muli po, maraming salamat at mabuhay po.
Maraming salamat, Chairperson Senator Robin Padilla, ang chair ng ating Committee on Constitutional Amendments. Thank you for the kind words, Senator Chairman Robin. At gusto natin kilalanin din po ang ating mga kasamahan na kakarating lang po. Senator Risa Hontiveros, our chair of the Committee on Women. Good morning, ma'am. And the Deputy Minority Leader as well. Senator J.B. Ejercito, our Deputy Majority Leader and the chair of the Senate Committees on Housing and Local Government. And of Senator Win Gatchalian, our hardworking chair of the Committee on Basic Education and hindi na energy, I always think your energy. Ways and Means. Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you for your trust and the chairman's trust in having me chair this committee. We'd like to acknowledge our very distinguished guests, and we're very fortunate today to have them with us. We have them in person as well as online. We have no less than former Chief Justice Hilario Davide Jr., who is with us. I think he's come all the way from Cebu. Thank you, sir. We have former Justice Adolf Ascuna, who was also here last week for the suffrage or electoral reforms hearing. And also we have online another framer of the Constitution, Attorney Christian Monsod. Can you hear us, Attorney Monsod? Yeah. Morning, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir. And our legal luminaries, a known constitutionalist, Justice Vicente, or Vivi for short, Mendoza. Good morning, sir. We have from the IBP, or the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, representing President Pido, is Attorney Marlo Distura. Morning, sir. And of course, not just legal luminaries, meron din po tayong magagaling na mga ekonomista. We have Dr. Gerardo Sicat from the UP School of Economics, who was one of the first NEDA Director Generals, if I'm not mistaken, sir. We have, maybe we could say from the opposite side of the spectrum, Sunny Africa, a graduate of, they say it's a good institution, the London School of Economics, and representing the Ibon Foundation. Morning, sir. We have a former Finance Secretary, Gary Teves, is with us. Sir, good morning. And from the Constitutional Reform and Reunification Movement, we have Mr. Orion Perez Dumdum. Morning, sir. I didn't miss anyone. Thank you. We invited more, but I think some could not make it, and some submitted their position papers, which we will share with the members of the committee and the public. Hopefully, we can post those online as well. So I'd just like to ask, before I turn it over to our distinguished resource persons, tatanong ko lang po sa ating kasamahan, baka meron silang pangunahing gustong sabihin or initial remarks? Your Honors? Yeah. Senator Risa, go ahead, ma'am.
Salamat, Mr. Chair, at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Salamat kasi ang hearing natin na ito para sa resolution of both houses, RBH 6, ay tanda na parang suspended rin muna ang diskusyon dito sa Kongreso niyang huwad na People's Initiative. Kaya sana nga yung temporary suspension ng COMELEC ng mga proceedings sa PI maging permanent na rin. Itapon na natin sa basurahan yung PI na yan. In any case, dear colleagues, hindi po nabawasan ang pag-alala ko sa mga probisyon ng saligang batas na nais i-amyenda ng RBH 6. Kaya salamat po sa pagkakataong pag-usapan ito dahil magbabantay talaga ako na hindi tayo mahaluan ng mga panukalang magpapahina lang sa ating demokrasya. I will definitely be one of those not to allow any provisions that will make our critical industries and institutions and our irreplaceable resources vulnerable to foreign takeover and exploitation. Sa bagay, mas madali kasing sisihin ang walang kamalay-malay na dokumento kaysa sisihin ang mga totoong dahilan. Korupsyon, red tape, malabong burokrasya, at mataas na singil ng kuryente ang nagtataboy sa mga lokal at dayuhan na investor. Walang pananagutan ang 1987 Constitution sa mga bagay na yon. Una sa lahat, yung sinasabi nilang restrictive di umano, hindi po yan totoo. Bukas na po ang ating tindahan, ladies and gentlemen. We have introduced numerous legislation that have already liberalized our sectors. Ilan lang dito ang RA 10641 or amendments to the Foreign Bank Liberalization Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Public Service Act, the Foreign Investments Act. So much of the Philippine economy is already open to foreign participation. Kung restrictions lang sa ekonomiya ang pag-uusapan, yung ating kapitbahay na Singapore, namamayagpag kahit na may restrictions sa critical industries at public utilities. Ang ibang bansa sa ASEAN, gaya ng Thailand at Indonesia, may kanya-kanya ding industriya na inaalagaan. Tayo? Kulelat pa rin, kahit maluwag na nga ang ekonomiya at marami ng probisyon para makapasok ang pera. Kaya hindi po solusyon ang tsa-tsa. Kahit sasabi nilang purely economic provisions para bawasan ang mga tunay na iniinda natin. Yung mismong roadmap nga ng pamahalaan sa pag-unlad, ang Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028, wala ding nabanggit na dapat mag-tsa-tsa para dumami ang trabaho, puksain ang kahirapan, at pataasin ang kalidad ng buhay ng bansa. Wala ito sa napag-usapan. Kaya, huwag sana nating gawing collateral damage ang konstitusyon, ang mismong kaluluwa ng bansa. We, the Filipino people, will determine our destiny, hindi yung ambisyon lang ng iilan. Hindi rin natin hahayaang mabaliwala ang pagsisikap ng ating mga mamamayan, ng civil society, mga mass movements, na gumawa ng paraan para magkaroon ng totoong pagbabago sa lipunan sa pamamagitan ng lehitimong paraan, kaysa sa ginagawa ng mga ilehitimong puwersa dyan sa tabi-tabi na tinira tayo ng pailalim. May the 1987 Constitution light our discussions today, ladies and gentlemen. Handa po akong makinig at makibahagi, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
Well said, Senator Risa. I just like, before I recognize Senator Win, we just like to acknowledge some of our colleagues who have arrived. The Chair of the Committee on National Defense, Public Order, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, former Chief of the PNP. And of course, our very much in the news, our Chair of the Committee on Electoral Reforms, the favorite sister of the President, Senator Amy Marcos. Madam, good morning. Morning, sir. Senator Win, yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a brief opening statement. First of all, I'd like to thank the chairman of the subcommittee for hearing my resolution. I actually filed my first version of this amendment to the economic provisions of our Constitution in 2019, which is the previous Congress. And I would like to, gusto ko rin po pasalamatan po ang chairman ng Mother Committee na ito, Committee on Constitutional Amendments, for holding 10 hearings, Mr. Chairman, nationwide, no? From Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Cebu, Baguio, Davao. Yeah. I'd
Chairman,
like to acknowledge also our majority leader,
Yeah.
that's Senator Villanueva, and this is Senator Gatchalian. Go ahead, Senator Gatchalian.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank Chairman Robin Padilla for starting the ball rolling with 10 hearings. In fact, I read parts of his hearing, I read the parts of the transcript of his hearings, and there were a lot of things covered, and it's good to discuss those items in greater detail in the days to come. But Mr. Chairman, I'd like to flash a few slides, no, that led me to file this resolution. First is the FDI restrictive index that was mentioned by Chairman Senator Robin Padilla. We're second in the whole world in terms of restrictiveness, in terms of opening up our economy. And because of that restrictiveness, the FDI inward inflow in ASEAN, and this is the next slide, we're actually at the tail end of the pack in terms of attracting FDIs. And if you look at Singapore, which is a smaller country compared to us, they're attracting more than 5-6 times more FDIs compared to our country. So, Mr. Chairman, this led me to file this resolution. And admittedly, there are many issues and details that we need to discuss, especially unintended consequences. And I'm here to listen to our panel of experts as to what are the potential unintended consequences that we need to safeguard. But the overall goal of this representation is to create more jobs by opening up our economy, speed up our growth by attracting more FDIs to our country, and hopefully by amending our constitution, we can attract critical foreign direct investments to critical industries in our country. So again, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for hearing this resolution. And I thank again Senator Robin Padilla for hosting 10 hearings in this measure. Thank you.
Parang sinasabi mo, Senwin, dapat mag-10 hearings din ako. Ha? Baka hindi matuwa yung ating mga kaibigan sa kabilang kapulutan. But thank you for sharing with us those very important facts. Any other preliminary remarks from our colleagues before we go to our Senator Amy?
Yes, very briefly, as your former chairman of Economic Affairs, the truth is that I was in close contact with most of our foreign investors and locators almost daily. And never once did they mention a change in the Constitution. Each time they stated that there was a need for lower rates of electricity, infinitely better infrastructure, less red tape, and a predictable and reliable regulatory framework. At no point did they say that the Constitution needed to be changed. Having said that, I am also puzzled by the list that has been provided for public services, given the many problems we have had with NGCP and the constant investigations here in the Senate. We are all fully aware that basic education, as well as all aspects of private education, are shrinking in revenue, in number, and in employment. So why education will be turned over for foreigners, for our children, also being converted into aliens is a puzzlement to me. Finally, the addition of advertising is also somewhat bizarre, given that the large advertising multinationals are already present in the country, and that advertising involves very little investment at all. Having said that, on the economic aspect, May I also get perhaps some clarity on the manner by which the so-called restrictive economic provision shall be amended? The Senate version passed by our good chairman indicates a constituent assembly without mentioning the name, but clearly stating that 3/4 would be involved. However, the House version calls for a constitutional convention, or at least that's what I understand from what was passed in third reading in March earlier last year. So if we could be elucidated on the process for the CONCON, which would clearly be far more expensive and which would, in fact, surrender the control of both houses over the subject matter once the Constitutional Convention has been elected and convened. So what safeguards do we have, and what choice do we have between the CONCON and the CONAS, which, once again, is a difference between the two houses? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very much, Senator Amy. Very good questions, very good points, and we will seek clarity from our learned resource persons in due time. Yes, Senator Bato, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to state for the record that I am here to support you in this endeavor as our subcommittee chairman, and also our main mother committee chairman, Senator Robin Hood Padilla. And I would like to listen to our highly esteemed resource persons na yung ibang pangalan ay memorize ko na nung ako'y elementary pa. Memorize ko na sa aking subject na social studies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Binima Jo, parang nagpapabata ka daw sa amin. Maka-college ka na daw noon sa amin. Just joking. Thank you very much for the statement of support, which is very much appreciated, Senator Bato. If there our Majority Leader wishes to, yes,
Mr.
Majority Leader
Chairman,
Senator Joel.
Thank you, and good morning to our dear colleagues, especially to our resource persons. This will be just very brief, just like Senator Bato de la Rosa. I'm here to support our colleagues. First of all, to Senator Robin Padilla, who exhaustively heard so many issues about this particular deliberation, and of course our subcommittee chair, Chairman Sani Angara. I think it is important to note that ang Senado ay tunay na may isang salita, Mr. President. We began our hearing today consistent with our commitment, the commitment of our Senate President to the President to explore and study amendments to the economic provisions of the Constitution. This will be exhaustive hearings. Unlike itong Peking PI, hindi naman ito irarush. We will do it right, and we will follow our timetable, one that ensures that all voices are heard. This will be transparent. Our people will know what is going on and what we are talking about. Wala po tayong itatago dito, at higit sa lahat, wala pong kalokohan gaya ng mga nadiskubre ng ating mga kasamahan nung nagpunta sila sa Davao, ni Senator Amy, Senator Bato, and Senator Bongo. Ang Senado po kasi, uulitin ko, ay may isang salita. May isang salita. This was our commitment from the very beginning, and we only went off track because of this ill-fated Peking initiative that was pushed by some quarters with the support of the House of Representatives. At klaro po yan, wala naman pong naniniwala na sa kanila na wala silang kinalaman dito. We have been told that if the Senate will tackle RBH 6, goodbye PI na raw. Gayon pa man, we will continue to be vigilant habang nakatutok po tayo dito sa RBH 6 hearings. Todo bantay din po tayo sa galaw ng mga kasamahan natin. Experience has taught us that what they say in the House and what they do can be two different things. Mr. Chairman, we will make sure that their words and actions are consistent. These are parallel efforts that aim to protect the processes involved in amending our charter, while we make sure that RBH 6 sticks to the original intention to amend only economic provisions of the Constitution, we will also continue to be proactive in our measures to thwart unconstitutional Chacha efforts. Kasama dito po yung investigation natin dyan na pinangungunahan ni Senator Amy Marcos. Linawin ko lang po kasi yung sinasabing ceasefire, ceasefire sa usapin ng PI. Kaya we will refrain from debating on this issue. Pero yung ceasefire po does not mean cease working or stop the PI inquiry. Kasi siyempre, kung may nakita po tayong sablay, tumatawa si Senator Bato kasi ang dami na niyang nakitang sablay eh. Pag may nakitang sablay ang Senado, talagang iimbestigahan po ito. Hindi naman tayo magkikibit-balikat. Yung ongoing hearings are in the process of unearthing evidence and nakita naman po natin, meron talagang questionable sa pagpapirma ng Peking Initiative. May mali po. Why should we turn a blind eye to these irregularities? Ang dami pong tanong, sino ang nagpondo sa kampanya? Saan galing itong pondo ng PI? Bakit nagkaroon ng traffic doon sa Forbes noong kuhanan ng 2.5? Bakit may traffic? Bakit ang mga chief of staff nagkukumahog na pumunta doon? Mr. Chairman, ayaw natin na masayang yung salapi ng taong bayan. Kaya ho tayo narito ngayon to make sure that we will hear this exhaustively and with transparency. The people have the right to know if their money is being used properly for their benefit and not for the benefit of a political agenda. Ang gusto kasi nung iba, forgive and forget na lang. Hindi naman po tama yun. Hindi na kami magsasalita tungkol sa PI, but we should let the witnesses speak and we should let the evidence speak. And at the end of the day, kung may gumawa ng labag sa batas, those responsible should be held accountable. So Chairman, ang bottom line po sa ginagawa ng Senado, yung ating trabaho. Trabaho po natin ito. Kaya naman, sabay natin yung pagdinig at pag-investigate kasi hindi naman tayo ganun kabisi sa paggawa ng mga resolusyon supporting our Senate President or supporting Senator Amy Marcos. Kasi dito po sa Senado, alam na natin kung ano yung tama at hindi kailangan ng mga ganyan kasi alam naman nila that they have the support of the Senate. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Of course, we will take guidance from you as our one of the heads of the institution. Thank you very much. Any others? Senator JV, yes, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just briefly. Anyway, we're here to listen. Just like to also recognize your efforts so that we could already start the ball rolling and prevent this constitutional crisis, if I may say, and also give recognition to our chair of the Constitutional Amendments Committee, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, for starting this. We are in the democratic society, and as they say, we have all the bright ideas are needed, no, in these discussions. Anyway, Mr. Chair, what we should be looking at right now is on how we will be able to improve the quality of lives of our people. In our efforts here in the Senate, on my part, we already shepherded the Public-Private Partnership Act and will soon sponsor the comprehensive infrastructure for master plan for us to be able to attract foreign investments. But as they say, our Constitution was written in 1987, 40 years, and the world has changed considerably. There was no such thing as globalization, World Wide Web back then. The world has become smaller. And I do agree that we have to discuss on what we will be able to do, on how we'll be able to attract foreign investors. Medyo nakakabahala lang, nakakalungkot tignan yung FDIs that we are getting. Doon sa pinakitang graph ni Sen. Sherwin, we are really lagging behind. But Mr. Chair, we in the Senate, we are not, hindi po ako sang-ayon na hindi tayo nagtatrabaho. In fact, we have mentioned that we have already started hearing on the priority measures that is designed on improving our economy. No? Yung Comprehensive Master Plan, Public-Private Partnership Act, and the rest. Again, we have to look into infrastructure, energy, and a lot more things that need to be prioritized so that we will be able to stimulate economic growth and provide jobs and opportunities to our people. So again, Mr. Chair, congratulations in advance, no, for having this hearing. By the way, thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator JV, for the support and the very good remarks. We have with us, we'd like to acknowledge the head of our institution, no less than the Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much to my dear colleague, Senator Sani Angara, our chairman of the subcommittee, together with the chairman, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, to all my colleagues, and of course the guests, all our friends from the legal luminaries from the legal community. Thank you for joining us today. And we also have today economists joining us. I know Tito Gary is here and others that are going to assist us in ferreting out the best way possible to remove the possible economic restrictions in the Constitution. We'd just like to put on record that the Senate is working very hard to listen to the clamor of certain sectors to look at and revisit the 1987 Constitution. But we will not be falling into a trap on any deadline, because to discuss such an important matter needs time. It needs study. It cannot be rushed like any regular bill that is just approved without thinking. So we, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Senate, will make sure that we deliberate this as much as possible and come out with the best outcome for our people. And so with that, I give my full support to our chairperson, Senator Sani Angara. The timeline is in your hands. If you feel it necessary that we must discuss this with all members of society, not only our learned luminaries here, as well as different sectors that will be affected by proposed amendments to our Constitution. So we leave it all up to you, my dear colleagues, my dear chairman. You have the full trust and confidence of this institution. And again, let us not listen to the noise. Let us be above the fray. The Senate, as an institution, should be statesmen and women that will always look at the best possible outcome for our country, not for our localities, but for our country. And therefore, let us filter out the noise and focus on the work at hand. So mabuhay pong Senado, mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas. Thank you very much, Chair.
Maraming salamat, Senate President Zubiri. We totally agree with you. We thank you for your authority, and we thank you for standing as a statesman these past few weeks, which have been very trying times for the country. And I think there will be challenges ahead. And with you at the helm, we are fully behind you in all your actions. Salamat po sa suporta. The chair just wishes to state that, reiterate my colleague's stand that this is not something that needs to be rushed, given the importance. Kung yung pangkaraniwang patakaran ay talagang dinidebate natin, mas lalo na po dahil ito ay pinakamahalaga o pinakamataas na batas sa bansa, ang mismong saligang batas. At pangalawa po, klaro naman dun sa sinabi ng ating mga kasama na although maganda yung constitutional reform, hindi ito sapat. Huwag natin isipin na ito ay isang milagro na pag pinasa natin ay darating bigla at kakatok sa ating mga pintuan ang mga mamumuhunan at mga negosyante. Dahil tulad ng sinabi ng ating mga kasama, maraming factors po yan. Yung ease of doing business, yung rule of law, yung kasiguruhan na rerespetuhin yung mga kontrata, yung red tape ay babawasan o yung mga kahirapan sa bureaucracia. Ayun, there are so many factors, and we know this because there are so many surveys. And as mentioned by some of our colleagues, hindi naman sa taas yung constitutional reform. Pero hindi naman ito ibig sabihin na hindi makakatulong ang constitutional reform. To the extent that it can, by all means, let us explore the possibilities. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our guests. And with your permission, colleagues, we'd like to start with former Chief Justice Hilario Davide Jr., who was one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution before he became the Chief Magistrate. Good morning, Chief Justice Davide. Sir, we'd like to hear from you, please, on Resolution number 6 regarding the economic provisions of the Constitution. Thank you, sir. You have the floor.
How much time would be given me?
Well, sir, given the importance of the subject matter, it would be ideal if you could spend. How much time do you need, sir?
Probably 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yes, please.
Good morning to all of you. I thank the Honorable Chairman and the members of the subcommittee for inviting me to this public hearing on Senate Resolution of both Houses number 6. I am deeply honored. I shall henceforth refer to this resolution as Senate RBH 6. I have some preliminary statements that concern some procedural matters. To save time, however, I shall just proceed directly to the issues concerning the Senate Bill RBH 6. Let me start with a reiteration of my firm and unchangeable stand that there are no valid, serious, and compelling reasons to amend our 1987 Constitution. What our country and our people need today are not amendments to or revision of the Constitution.